সালামু আলাইকুম অ্যান্ড ভেরি গুড ইভিনিং। যুক্তরাজ্য সহ পৃথিবীর যে যেখানে বসে এনটিভি ইউরোপের রেগুলার প্রোগ্রাম কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্স দেখছেন, আপনাদের সবাইকে শুভেচ্ছা সহ স্বাগতম। বরাবরের মতো আজকেও আপনাদের সাথে আছি আমি আদনান পাভেল। আপনারা যারা রেগুলারলি এই প্রোগ্রাম দেখেন আপনারা জানেন কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্স আপনাদের অনুষ্ঠান, আপনাদের নিয়ে অনুষ্ঠান। আমরা সবসময় চেষ্টা করি এমন সব টপিকে কথা বলতে যা কিনা ব্রিটিশ বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটি বা বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটির উপর প্রভাব ফেলছে বা অদূর ভবিষ্যতে প্রভাব ফেলতে পারে। আজও তার ব্যতিক্রম নয়। আজকে আমরা কথা বলবো এমন একটা টপিকে হুইচ ইজ ভেরি রিলেভেন্ট, ভেরি কারেন্ট, এবং আমরা পত্রপত্রিকা খুললেই দেখতে পারি এই বিষয়ে কোনো না কোনো নিউজ আর্টিকেল আছে, কোনো না কোনো প্রবলেম অ্যাট ডিফারেন্ট পার্ট অফ দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ড, কোনো না কোনো প্রবলেম হচ্ছে। এবং ইন 2 days টাইম উই গোয়িং টু সেলিব্রেট Christmas. This is just another time of the year when we celebrate our time with our friends and family. But does religion really bring us together, or is it separating us more than any time before? We'll try to find out at the end of the program. If you watch this program, at the end of the program, I am sure you would be able to make up your mind, or at least you would be able to help you to find out whether religion bring us together or not. And আমরা সবসময় আপনারা জানেন যে চেষ্টা করি আমাদের গেস্ট ডাইভার্স যেন হয় এবং আমাদের গেস্টরা যেন ওই পার্টিকুলার টপিকের উপর ওনাদের স্পেশাল নলেজ থাকে, এক্সপার্টিস থাকে। আজও কিন্তু তার ব্যতিক্রম নয়। আজকে এই ব্যাপারে ডাজ রিলিজিয়ন ব্রিং আস টুগেদার অর নট, এই ব্যাপারে কথা বলার জন্য উপস্থিত আছেন আমার হাতের ডান পাশে মিসেস Alison Jones. Alison, thank you so very much for joining us today. You see, we have a match Christmas jumper, so it's just another time of the celebration when we celebrate Christmas. So we'll try to find out more whether religion bring us together or not. But thank you so much for joining us today on NTV Europe. তারপর আমার সাথে উপস্থিত আছেন জনাব Ishakuddin, another community activist, youth worker, also media person. Ishaq bhai, thank you so very much for joining us today to talk about whether religion bring us together or not. Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. On my left hand side, I have Mr. Saif Townsend. Saif, thank you so very much for joining us today. As I mentioned earlier, it's just another time of the year that we celebrate Christmas. All of us, we are in festive mood. So we'll try to find out whether religion bring us together or not. But thank you so very much for joining us today at NTV Europe. Then I have Mr. Rafid Jubair Chaudhry, a young person, who is studying law. He's also trustee of his University Students' Union. Thank you very much, Mr. Rafid Jubair Chaudhry, for joining us today. It is always good to listen to fresh ideas from a young guy. So we'll try to find out whether religion bring us together or not, or do we celebrate Christmas or Eid as a social event or a religious event. So thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you,
Rafid. Dear viewers, আপনারা আমাদেরকে ফোন করতে পারবেন if you have any question or any opinion. আমাদের স্ক্রিনের নিচে যে ফোন নাম্বার আছে সেই ফোন নম্বরে ফোন করে আপনারা আমাদের সাথে কথা বলতে পারবেন। So if I may start with you, Alison, do you think religion brings us together, or it separates us more than any time before?
I think that when people really want to get to know one another and learn from one another, then talking about their faith can bring people together.
Right.
Last night I had I had 2 Bengali families, a Pakistani friend and a Somali friend come round to spend an evening at my house, and a Japanese family celebrating Christmas traditions, playing board games, having Christmas food.
Right.
Now, these are all friends of mine, and we were able to talk about what Christians do at Christmas.
Right.
Last Sunday, 3 of those families came to the carol service at my church in Tower Hamlets. And during Ramadan, I'd been to all those families and fasted, and then been to iftar meals at their houses.
Right.
So this was like me saying, well, I've been to your house during Ramadan and having iftar. So it's not just sharing food, it's about sharing beliefs, talking about why we sing in church, talking about why we believe that,
trying to find
out the connection. So yes, so my Somali friend had never been in a church before, and she was able to say to me, well, why do you sing? We don't sing in our Somali mosques. Why do you sing? What are all those songs about? So she ended up coming in with a carol service leaflet and said to me, what are these words? What does this mean? And I think if you have an open approach, you can find things that you want to connect back. And I think there's actually more connections with people from faith groups than there is between me and someone who's an atheist or an agnostic.
Right. So you trying to say that, you know, once we break that barrier, once we come out of that stigma or stereotype that exists, that, you know, religion actually divides us. But, you know, once we try to break that stigma and then we try to find out the common ground, it can actually bring people together. Is there something you're trying to say?
I think that many religions have compassion, faith, hope as being part of their forgiveness. There are differences, and obviously my belief of who Jesus is as the Son of God is different to Jews or Muslims. But there are approaches to life about values which are similar between many religions. And I think that that can actually, if people are prepared to look beyond the stereotype and make friendships, then you can begin to discuss and you can learn and have some very interesting conversations.
Absolutely. And sometimes differences can be a strength as well instead of a problem, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the way that people see things are different. And I think the problem is that everybody thinks that all Christians are the same and that all Muslims are the same and that all Jews, and they don't realise there are very many different branches of Christianity, different ways of expressing Islam, and that what matters is what person's faith is, their own, how they act it out in their own lives.
Thank you.
Not necessarily about the structure of their church or their belief.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. We'll try to learn more from your experience. Ishakuddin bhai, you know, you've been involved with interfaith organization for so many years now. From your experience, do you think religion brings us together or it divides us more than any time before? What's your opinion on it?
I think it could be two opinions. So I would start with, in November we had an interfaith week.
Right.
Within that week there was a Mifta Day. You're involved too. In that Mifta Day, 83 organizations came together.
Right.
More than 40,000 volunteers came together from
all across the UK.
Across UK and outside,
other
as well.
Right.
So it means, like, can you imagine 40,000 people came together, and what they're doing is, so it was a charity, Jewish-led charity, and it was amazing working together. So Christian, Muslims, and no faith to coming together, and the community works. So we were doing gardening, we were having food together, we cooked and giving food to the homeless people, and we are very proud of our faith.
Time with elderly people.
Definitely,
as well.
definitely. So if we look in that perspective, then it's fantastic and it's working.
Absolutely.
And faith works. If that didn't work, the biggest religion in the world is Christianity. So there are more than 2 billion people, they believe in something and united. So they'll be doing their festival soon. As a Muslim, 1.6 billion Muslims based on faith. They have this identity. And just like Seth, we done it together. We went to their synagogue. We actually would eat together. We were doing community things together. It was fantastic. They come in Ramadan, they come and have iftar with us. So I think, just like Alison said, it's not...
so it can bring people together doing good things for the community.
Definitely.
Right.
But there are groups are dividing people. That's can be within any faith.
Yes.
So you always have a black sheep somewhere,
and
it will divide us.
Fanatics or people
So
driven by some wild ideology. You know, those people are not true representative of any particular religious group.
They're just taking pick and choose.
Right.
They're choosing something and they're abusing it, and they have a political idea behind, and they're using that religion to back them up.
Absolutely. So you're trying to say that instead of driven by the message of peace, love, rather they are driven by a political ideology, and they are using religion as a propaganda, in order to fulfill their, political agenda. Is that?
I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mr. Sef. What do you think of it? You've been involved with interfaith organization. You've been involved with community for so many years, trying to bring community together. Do you think religion actually can bring us together, or does it divide us more than any time before? What's your opinion
I think
on
the
it?
interesting thing is people think at the moment that people are divided between the religions. There's a lot of propaganda, there's a lot of Islamophobia, there's rising
anti-Semitism.
But if I can go to a point which was very dark in the world's history quite recently.
Right.
There was a bombardment of Gaza about 5 years ago. It was followed the next year by a bombardment of Gaza. Now, I have a few Muslim friends, and they were feeling terrible. But my Jewish friends and I were feeling terrible. And we felt so bad that what was happening, that we thought we should have a place where we can just come together. And we decided we would meet maybe in somebody's living room, and we told friends, and more and more and more people wanted to come together just to share, Muslims and Jews together, just how terrible we felt about that. The Muslims felt very bad because most of the people in Gaza were Muslim, but lots of Christians too.
Yes.
A lot of Jewish people. I mean, we're Jewish, doesn't mean to say we're Israeli, and even if we are Israeli, doesn't mean to say we agree with the militaristic thing that's going on. So in the end, we didn't plan it. It's just people came together and we found a space. 30 Jews came together and 30 Muslims, as if you'd have planned it. We didn't. It just worked out like that. And we just spent time being quiet, sharing those terrible feelings. And from that terrible moment, we reached out and looked at our friend. The Jews looked at the Muslims looked at Jews. And they said, look, we are feeling this together. We are celebrating this tragedy. But now let's have some food. And from there, a group developed called Kojam, Community of Jews and Muslims, which Ishak knows very well. It's gone from power to power. And just recently we had our festival. You mentioned the Mitzvah Day, but we also had Hanukkah. And when you came to our Hanukkah thing, it's an 8-day event. There were more Muslims than Jews there. It was a Jewish event in a synagogue, but there were more Muslims. So if that doesn't mean that religion isn't bringing people together, what does? You know?
Yes. Thank you very much for your view. Mr. Rafid Jubair Chaudhry, you are a young man, studying in a very diverse university. Do you think, from your experience, you are also involved with student politics as well? You also volunteer for different faith groups as well. From your experience, do you think religion can bring us together, or it is dividing us more than any time before? From your perspective as a young person, what do you make of it?
What I would say is that religion is everyone's private thing. Everyone has their own opinion, but almost in every religion they say the same thing. So this is the thing, in my university, when I meet new people, I try to talk to them about different things, and whenever I make a conversation, I see that our mentality is quite the same.
So you think that the young people, they share more or less same ideology or opinion about what's happening around the world? Is that something you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Right. So once you say, for example, once you go to your class, and you meet a diverse group of people, and once you start conversation with them, do you try to find out what is their religion, as a means to make friendship, or you say, let's talk about this issue, and then you try to find out the common ground and say, we can be good friends?
No, it's going to be difficult for me if I start looking at the religion first.
Right.
Yeah.
So you once you go to a classroom or a diverse, demography or a diverse scenario, initially you try to find out the common ground instead of religion.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that people of your age demography, they share the same opinion, same ideology as you, or they tend to have a very different view than you?
As like Ishaq Bhai said, there are two types of people. Some people have a positive opinion and some have negative. So same in our group as well. So in youth people, some people have positive opinion about religion and some have negative.
I see. Thank you so very much. Thank you all four of you for joining us today. Dear viewers, today we are talking about, does religion bring us together or not? Keep watching NTV. We need to go for a break. We'll be back very soon.